Inside the Magic, show number 348 for December 4th, 2011. It is Sunday, December 4th, 2011. This is show 348 of Inside the Magic. And as always, I'm your host, Ricky Briganti. We do have another great show packed with Disney and theme park news and a whole lot more fun. And before we get started with all of that, I invite you to visit InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and so much more. And if you ever have any tips, news, questions, or anything else you want to let me know about, you can write to me at ricky@insidethemagic.net, or you can always call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486, and you might hear yourself here on the show. And now, let's get started with this week's show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. The Disney Cruise Line is closer than ever with sailings from New York, Galveston, and Los Angeles. So book your Disney cruise vacation today for the best pricing, and you can receive free shipboard credit by calling Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387, or you can visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote, and be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And by Audible, get a free audiobook download, a free trial, and access to over 85,000 titles to choose from for your iPod or MP3 player, all over at audibletrial.com/InsideTheMagic. And, of course, thanks very much to listeners and viewers like you for your donations, including Kyle Crane this week, and anybody who's a monthly recurring donation, subscriber, whatever you want to call it. And if you're doing a little holiday shopping on Amazon this year, go through InsideTheMagic.net/Amazon, and we'll get credit for your purchases. I appreciate that. And now, let's start off the show with a trip around the world. So, despite the fact that it is the holiday season, last week, I guess, was Thanksgiving, and there wasn't all that much news. This week, there was a lot of really big and surprising news from around the world of theme parks from Disney and beyond. A lot of surprises, really, and the most surprising of all definitely took place outside of the world of Disney. This all-too-recognizable music should indicate what I am about to talk about, and it is some sad news as far as I'm concerned in the world of theme parks. Universal Orlando announced just a couple of days ago, out of nowhere, that they've decided to close their classic Jaws attraction, the boat ride, as well as the surrounding Amity area. The entire area and the ride are going to be closing permanently on January 2nd, 2012, which was a shocker to everybody who is a fan of the attraction. Of course, that's me and many, many others. It's been around for 20 years now at Universal Orlando, and we don't know what's coming next. Universal has simply only said it is to, quote, make room for an exciting new experience. That's it. That's all we know at this point. There's certainly plenty of rumors circulating as to what could possibly replace the Jaws attraction at Universal Orlando. There's a crazy rumor that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter will be expanding to the other park. Of course, that's in Islands of Adventure, but it'll be, this rumor suggests it'll be expanding to take over that area, and that a Hogwarts Express train will connect the two parks. That's certainly a major project. I would be very surprised if that happened. It's certainly not impossible. Anything's possible in the world of theme parks, but it would surprise me. Of course, there's other rumors of Transformers taking over the area, because Transformers attractions being installed actually just opened, I think, in Singapore, and it's going to be opening in a few months in Hollywood, so Transformers coming to Orlando is certainly possible, though it could go somewhere else. Terminator, I've heard, Terminator 2 3D is kind of on the chopping block, it could be a Madagascar. In Singapore, they opened a Madagascar boat ride, which certainly could go into where Jaws is now, or it could be something, well, completely different. So, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what is in store for that. But one thing is for sure, if you want to ride Jaws, you've only got a limited time at this point until January 2nd is when it will be closed, and that'll be it for one of Orlando's classic theme park attractions. And along the sort of same subject here, while we're talking Universal Orlando, another big surprise came out this week, and this one actually hit from the Wall Street Journal first. They were the one who broke the news, though it is not officially announced yet, that the very popular Wizarding World of Harry Potter apparently is going to be making its way to Universal Studios Hollywood in California. It is not clear as to exactly what that means yet. Universal is not confirming this, nor is Warner Brothers, but the Wall Street Journal and many other news sources have suggested that an announcement is on the near horizon for some form of Harry Potter attractions to be opening up or being built in the California park sometime in the coming years. So we'll have to definitely stay tuned and stay on top of that to see what amount of Potterness will be headed for California. So now let's jump into the world of Disney, where one of the biggest projects that is on the horizon is Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom over, of course, at the Magic Kingdom out here in Orlando at Walt Disney World. And this week, extensive testing began, not with guests, but rather with a certain select cast members, particularly in Adventureland, where if you're in the park, you very well may spot cast members testing all of the magic portals, as they are called, these windows that are activated throughout the park that have been installed into the Magic Kingdom to enhance it with this interactive game called Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom. A couple of pictures from DisneyProjects.com were shared with us, apparently to join into the Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom game. It's all included in park admission, and you'll once you opt in, you'll get a paper map, a sorcerer card, as well as some magic spell cards with characters on them. And the map shows off 5 theme park lands from the Magic Kingdom: Adventureland, Liberty Square, Frontierland, Fantasyland, and Main Street. So no Tomorrowland, at least as of now, will be included in Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom. It all begins with sorcerer training, apparently, at which point guests are navigated or told, sort of like the Kim Possible adventure over at Epcot, told where to go first. It's not a free, open-ended experience. You have to go to a certain window to begin the experience, and once you're there, you show your sorcerer card, and from there you trigger an interaction, and some animated characters do something special in this magic portal window, and you use your magic spell cards to battle the villains that appear, who are apparently wanting to take over the park. And ultimately, once you complete that, they tell you where to go next. It's a very structured experience, though it won't necessarily be the same every single time, and there's a variety of magic spell cards and all of that kind of thing. Apparently, according to the report from those who have seen it being tested, as of right now, it's a bit loud of an experience. If you're not taking part in it, you'll still hear it as you're walking around the park, taking away from the ambiance of each of the areas for now. But of course, it is still very much in testing, so the volume levels of Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom magic portals will certainly be tweaked in the coming weeks leading up to when it officially debuts for guests to play in early 2012. There's no specific date yet, but looks like a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil it. I haven't read too much about it because I want to be able to experience it on my own as a surprise, not knowing what each of the magic portals will do exactly, other than some animated characters appearing. And so I probably won't be spoiling too much here on the show, but certainly I'll have a report about the general experience of playing it once it does debut within, a month or two. Now, we are very well in the Christmas season now, and just this past weekend, over Friday and Saturday, the Christmas Day Parade, Disney Parks Christmas Day Parade tapings took place at the Magic Kingdom. On Friday were the performances up by Cinderella Castle, and then on Saturday was the parade portion. Performances this year from Walt Disney World include CeeLo Green, Jennifer Hudson, Scotty McCreery, Justin Bieber, and even a special appearance on Main Street by Statler and Waldorf of the Muppets. Hosting from Walt Disney World this year were Mario Lopez, Maria Menounos, and Samantha Brown. Of course, all of that will be aired on ABC Christmas morning, December 25th, along with the segments that they shot at Disneyland just a few weeks ago. Now, just a little while ago, I read this on Twitter, and I have not independently confirmed this. In fact, only one person on Twitter has even reported this. They were over at Disney's Hollywood Studios and apparently saw that something related to the Comedy Warehouse, a former Pleasure Island Comedy Warehouse, will be performing some kind of show at the Sounds Dangerous Theater, December 25th through 31st, just a couple of weeks from now, following Christmas and the very busy week that takes place after Christmas. So again, I don't know exactly the details there. It's sort of a breaking story, if you will, but certainly sounds interesting that Disney perhaps is bringing back a little bit of that Pleasure Island entertainment into the park, even if just for a limited time. Speaking of Hollywood Studios, Disney announced something else for a limited time. It could very well be a test to see if this will work out in the future. They're calling it A Taste of Hollywood to Go, a phantasmic dining experience at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's kind of similar to the World of Color picnic meals that are available in California. It's available only from December 18th through December 31st. Reservations can be made by calling 407-WDW-DINE. And it's part of the Disney dining plan, a quick service meal there. And basically, it enables you to get some food and then get a good spot for Phantasmic as well. The food offerings include fried chicken with maple glazed sweet potato and baby spinach salad, broccoli and cranberry salad and cheesecake. That's $15. Also for $15, another option is a veggie wrap with avocado spread, tabbouleh, avocado and tomato salad, citrus vinaigrette and chocolate cake. Another $15 option would be olive oil poached salmon with couscous salad and dried cranberries and peas, roasted beet and apple salad, and key lime pie. Then there's also a teriyaki and orange marinated beef with udon noodle salad, caramelized vegetables, and sesame mandarin vinaigrette, seaweed salad, ginger carrots, and mandarin orange cheesecake. And the list continues. There's quite a few more. Fresh fruit, brie, dipped strawberries, and focaccia bread. That one's only $12, so the previous one was $15. Again, for $10, chocolate dipped pretzels, strawberries, and marshmallows with chocolate dipping sauce. For $5.49, a kid's meal with American cheese wrap and turkey and strawberry yogurt and apples and carrots and ranch dip and 7-layer cookie bar. And one more, kid's meal power pack with goldfish, crackers, strawberry yogurt, string cheese, apples and carrots and ranch dip, and a 7-layer cookie bar. And that's $5.49. And those are your meals that Disney has cranked out for the Phantasmic offering. And I would imagine if this is popular, they'll probably continue to do it, like I said, as they have been doing for World of Color. You can get some food, and you can, enjoy the show all without too much of a hassle. Now let's turn away from food over to Disney's Contemporary Resort, where a project has been canceled that was previously announced. The Health and Wellness Suites were supposed to go into the 14th floor, really take over the 14th floor of the Contemporary. Well, that is not happening. In fact, they were actually supposed to open last month, and they didn't, and apparently they're never going to happen. There are still plans, apparently, to renovate that 14th floor with some other sort of suites, but they're not going to be health and wellness suites. In the world of merchandise, some information came out this week of something Disney had previously announced. It's a new version of the Star Speeder 1000 from Star Tours, except this is a very large version. It's a whole playset version. It actually measures 19 inches long by 7 inches wide and 7 inches tall. It is a very large playset designed to work with your standard kind of Star Wars sized, I don't know if those are 3 or 4 inch figures. It can actually hold 9 action figures as well as a pilot. It comes with R2-D2 and the IC360 camera droid. And then in the front of the cockpit inside the Star Speeder, you can have interchangeable destination discs, as they're calling them, with 4 different scenes. And as you put them in, it plays different dialogue from the attraction. It lights up and laser cannons pop out. It is going to be $55, sold only at Disney parks. It will not be available online. It's going to be available at Star Trader at Disneyland Resort, Tatooine Traders at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and Once Upon a Toy at the Downtown Disney Marketplace. Let's turn to the Disney Cruise Line now, where I am really excited about this. Of course, we talked about Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom just a few minutes ago, and along the same lines, a new interactive game is coming to the Disney Fantasy Cruise Ship, and it is centered around the Muppets. It's going to be called The Case of the Stolen Show, and the goal is to help the Muppets find missing props so they can take the stage for a big performance. It's going to be kind of similar to the Disney Dreams midship detective agency in that you're going to have a map and some game cards, and it will interact with the enchanted art that is all over the ship. However, like I just said, this one is going to star the Muppets. In fact, a cast of more than 20 Muppets, including Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, and Animal, and many more, and they are preparing to stage a performance, but Kermit's banjo apparently is found to be missing. Fozzie's squirting flower has vanished, Gonzo's crash helmet has gone astray, Animal's drumsticks have disappeared, and the Swedish chef can't find his cleaver. So Peppy the King Prawn wants to take on detective duties, but Kermit decides maybe that's not such a good idea. Let's get the cruise guests involved to get the job done. There's going to be a Muppets message board and a Muppet-sized stateroom door offering clues. The game is going to be designed for guests 9 and older and featuring several possible endings and multiple randomized events, so you're going to want to play it a whole bunch of times. Sounds really, really exciting. A lot of fun. I actually did not get a chance to play the midship detective agency when I was on the Disney Dream, which was, I just simply ran out of time. There was too much to see, but I will definitely make it a point, should I get on the Disney Fantasy anytime soon when it launches next year, I will make a beeline for this Muppet experience because it sounds fun. Of course, all over the Disney Fantasy ship, there will be enchanted art, much like on the Disney Dream, and Disney has released some information about some of the unique new pieces of enchanted art that will be featured on the Fantasy, including circus art posters with Dumbo and Timothy Q. Mouse flying from one frame into another, kind of moving, across between them. There will be Walt Disney animating 3 new clips on his sketch pad, including featuring the Fab Five, scenes from Fantasia, some Alice in Wonderland inspired drawings from Mary Blair's artwork, which would be really great. And then Disney released one bit of artwork called Pinky Daisy, inspired by Thomas Lawrence's painting Sarah Barrett Moulton Pinky. And they actually released a full animation of what this enchanted art will do, and I put that on our on InsideTheMagic.net and on our YouTube channel. So if you want to see Pinky Daisy in action, head on over there. And of course, the Disney Fantasy cruise ship will be sailing its maiden voyage in March 2012. Let's jump back to the topic of Star Wars here just for a moment, as Disney this week announced the dates for the 2012 Star Wars weekends at Disney's Hollywood Studios. They are May 18th through 20th, May 25th through 27th, June 1st through 3rd, and June 8th through 10th. So if you're planning on being out here for Star Wars weekends, those are the dates you're going to want to look at. Of course, the celebrity lineup and the specifics of it all has not been released yet, but at least you got some dates to plan ahead. Jumping now over to Disney's Animal Kingdom, apparently characters from the Disney Pixar movie Up will soon be doing meet and greets over at that park, so be on the lookout for them pretty soon. No specifics yet, just soon. Let's turn away from Disney, but sticking with Central Florida. Some other big news that came out this week. It's something we had known about sort of before, but now have official confirmation from Legoland Florida that they are indeed going to be building a Legoland water park, and it's going to actually open very soon. They're going to make this happen quite quickly. It's going to be open by summer 2012, not even a whole year out or anything. It's like 6 months from now, this park will be open. The attractions featured in Legoland Water Park will include a Lego wave pool, Twin Chasers, which is a 375-foot intertwining pair of water slides that you'll be able to kind of ride and race each other, and Splash Out, in which it will be the tallest point of the water park. There'll be 3 slides there, and with a 60-foot drop and a splash out, there will be something called the Joker Soaker, an interactive playground. Build-A-Raft River, where you can design and build a Lego vessel and then set afloat on its maiden voyage around a 1,000-foot lazy river. And a Duplo Splash Safari, and that will be for toddlers. This water park, admission into it is kind of different. Normally you think, oh, well, I'm going to go to the water park or I'm going to go to Legoland. It doesn't quite work in that fashion. For this, it's actually going to be included if you get a Legoland Premium Pass, or if you get a single-day pass to Legoland Florida, you'll be able to upgrade to a water park attraction ticket for $12 per person. But you can't just get a Legoland water park ticket. It sounds like it's not maybe a full park. It's kind of like an add-on to the existing Legoland Florida, which is definitely a bit different. But I will certainly be there when it opens up. It sounds like a lot of fun. But this is not so much fun. Men's Health ranked very recently that apparently Orlando is the 19th saddest city in the United States. You wouldn't really think that would be the case with Disney and all the theme parks and all the fun, but apparently, according to Men's Health, we are the 19th saddest city in the United States. But we were definitely topped by Tampa, not too far from here. Apparently, is the 4th saddest city in the United States. So everybody needs to smile more around Central Florida, apparently. Let's jump to California now. Another big bit of news here. This is something that's been rumored for quite a while, so it wasn't necessarily a surprise, but at least now it is official for Disney California Adventure that in late spring 2012, they will indeed be opening a Ghirardelli soda fountain and chocolate shop, taking the place of the old Mission Tortilla factory, which closed a few months ago in the Pacific Wharf area of the park. So rather than grabbing your warm tortilla sample, you'll now be able to grab some complimentary chocolate samples from Ghirardelli. And it'll be very similar, apparently, to any other Ghirardelli, including the one out here in Orlando at Downtown Disney at Downtown Disney. So that's coming late spring 2012. Also out in California, Disneyland Hotel, after all its renovations and construction and all of that, is pretty much done. The new pool is open. The new pool is open. There's new signage everywhere. The towers have been renamed. The lobby is all renovated. And so, you don't have to worry about booking a trip to stay at the Disneyland Hotel and running into all kinds of construction. It's pretty much done, and I look forward to seeing the completed project next time I'm out there. Also out at Disneyland, some holiday entertainment that seems to be available just for a limited time, and something that the Disney Parks blog made a point to publicize. Some toy soldiers, drummers performing in the park. Will kind of have these impromptu mini street parties, as they put it, featuring some classic holiday tunes. It's, of course, only for the holiday season, and there's no real schedule, so you might just happen to stumble across them when you are in Disneyland Park. Moving away from the parks into the world of animation, something really interesting came out this week. It's called Hungry Hobos, but it's not new. It's one of 26 episodes featuring Oswald the Lucky Rabbit from 1927 for Universal Studios, and it was just recently found. Apparently, this Hungry Hobos short film has been kind of lost for decades and decades, but Robert Dewar, commercial director for Huntley Film Archives, found the only known surviving copy of this short earlier this year, and now it is going to be going up for auction. It's a 5-minute, 21-second film, and they expect it to bring somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000. It, interestingly enough, it aired on May 14th, 1928, one day before the first trial screening of Mickey Mouse. Of course, there was that whole big controversy between Oswald the Lucky Rabbit and Walt's ownership and not ownership, and losing the character and then ultimately creating Mickey Mouse. So definitely a big a piece of Disney history here to be found, and it sounds like somebody who is going to bid a lot of money is going to be the new owner of Hungry Hobos. You never know, maybe Walt Disney Company itself will rebuy this up after all these years, but who knows, probably not. And speaking of business and Walt Disney Company, it is toward the end of the year, and this is when Disney always releases their dividend information for shareholders. And this year, did a really good job. Walt Disney Company has increased its yearly dividend by 50% over last year to 60 cents a share. That's going to be payable to shareholders on January 18th. That's shareholders of record as of December 16th. And final bit of news this week, also a bit of business news. Of course, last week I had reported that Disney president and CEO Bob Iger is now an Apple board member. Well, following that and showing some faith in the Apple company, Bob Iger has purchased 2,670 shares of Apple stock on the open market. The average purchase price of those shares was around $375, making the entire purchase just over $1 million. So Bob Iger now has a pretty good sized stake in Apple, as well as, of course, being head of Disney. So the connection between the two continues. Of course, there's all Pixar and all that kind of thing. But anyway, that is it for your news from around the world this week. And this week's tip was sent in from Mike from Virginia. It's actually a different sort of tip than we've ever featured on the past. This is a video game tip, and I don't think we've ever featured a video game tip before, but Mike writes, I recently received Kinect Disneyland Adventures as a gift and also heard your review, and as with all Kinect games, being active and standing is part of the deal. But I understand the frustration of having to stand and point when wanting to just navigate around the virtual park. The games are fun while standing, but navigating shouldn't feel like I've been walking all day at the park, so there are 2 tips to solve this problem. First, use the guide map in the game and to say where you want to go. If you're on Main Street and need to go all the way to Toontown, get the map and say Toontown, and you're there. Granted, once you're there, you still have to stand to get around the land, which leads me to tip number 2. Get a tall chair or stool and put it right in front of your TV. I used a $20 plastic stool from IKEA, and Kinect thinks that I am standing, and I'm able to point and navigate without having to stand. It works perfectly, and now, if only the game came with turkey legs. Mike, thanks very much for those tips. Yeah, I did not mention that when I had my review or did my review of the game, that you can kind of raise your hands in the air and access an overall park map and just jump around to wherever you want to go. So you don't necessarily have to walk around, but I think as part of the game, walking around is really part of the fun of the game, not actually walking around, but virtually walking around and just taking in all the sights. So I wouldn't want to skip over that. So your tip to pull up a stool, pull up a chair, a tall chair at that, where the Kinect system can see your feet, is the important part, or at least your legs, and then you'll be able to get around. That sounds like a good tip. I do have some tall kitchen chairs that I will have to give that a shot. As long as you got a clear view of the Kinect system and the Kinect system has a clear view of you, I don't see why that wouldn't work out. So thanks very much, everybody else out there. If you have a tip, email it in to tips@insidethemagic.net. And now, before we get to this week's main features, I need to put in a word about our relatively new sponsor, 1 week old now. This week's main features are brought to you by our newest sponsor, Theme Park Connection. Theme Park Connection held its grand opening just this past Saturday. Anybody following me on Twitter and Facebook saw a lot of great pictures from the new facility, the new store and warehouse that's now officially open to the public, with thousands of Disney and theme park collectibles, props, costumes, signs, trading pins, and much more. They both buy and sell the rarest Disney and theme park items, so you can bring your collectibles in to sell and get money on the spot. Their 4,000 square foot warehouse is now open Monday through Friday in Winter Garden, Florida, just about 15 minutes north of the Magic Kingdom. Inside there, you will find the most unique Disney collectibles, from benches to store windows and pieces of extinct attractions. For more information, directions, and you can also buy from their online eBay store, visit themeparkconnection.com. And if you head on over to insidethemagic.net, you can also see a photo gallery from all over their warehouse from grand opening day in our photo section. It's actually at insidethemagic.net/photos. But again, check their website out over at themeparkconnection.com. And we are very much in the Christmas season, as I have said many times already this year. Looking forward to jumping into all of this great Christmas content in the coming weeks here. In fact, basically what I plan to do here each week in December is add just a little Christmas entertainment to make your holiday season that much more festive. Before I get to this week's Christmas fun, I want to make a mention about Mouse Vent. This is something I participated in last year as well. It's back once again this year. Mouse Vent is basically a Disney Advent calendar podcast style. It's taking place every day throughout the month of December, so we're already 4 days into it. It's at mousevent.com. You can also find Mouse Vent up on iTunes and subscribe to the podcast, and basically you get a little podcast sort of tiny show every single day, something produced exclusively for Mouse Vent, and I participated as well. Ours is going to be on December 5th, so tomorrow you'll be able to enjoy the Inside the Magic edition of Mouse Vent. So I encourage you to tune in not only to our episode tomorrow, but also all of them, 24 days worth leading up to Christmas at mousevent.com. And with that said, I also want to mention just real quick that in the past couple of days, I experienced all that is SeaWorld Christmas, and then just last night, Universal Orlando Christmas as well, from Grinchmas to Mannheim Steamroller to everything, the Macy's Holiday Parade, and just all the decorations and everything. And I'm going to be posting a lot from that over at InsideTheMagic.net very soon. I took literally thousands of photos and hours of video, and all of that will be up pretty soon. And I'll probably talk more about that next week's show, or perhaps the week after, as we get closer and closer to Christmas. But that is not what I'm going to be talking about this week. Instead, I want to talk about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, something that is a certainly a great party to attend, but certainly not an absolutely perfect party, and that's kind of what I want to talk about here is my experience in visiting Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party this year. It's certainly a beautiful occasion over at the Magic Kingdom, offers a chance to really take in all that is Disney Christmas all at once. It's an after-hours event at the Magic Kingdom. For anybody who doesn't know, you do have to buy a separate ticket to go. Unlike many of the other parks, whether it's SeaWorld or Universal or even Disneyland out in California, this is an added ticket that you have to buy in order to experience all of the Christmas festivities there, which is one of the things that I don't really like about it. I appreciate that Disney puts on all this extra entertainment, but personally I would prefer if it was just simply included with a day's admission. SeaWorld puts on a really incredible amount of entertainment that's just part of their regular park admission. There's stage shows, there's special fireworks, there's outdoor shows, there's live band entertainment in the streets, there's snowfall, there's all kinds of things. Universal puts on a special parade and concerts and all of this. Disneyland puts on a parade and fireworks, but for some reason at the Magic Kingdom, you have to pay extra to see all of that, which is, it's just one of those things that bugs me. It doesn't mean that it's a bad experience. It doesn't mean you won't get a lot for your money, particularly if you enter early. You can enter with a Very Merry Christmas Party ticket as early as 4 p.m. On the day of, so you can get those extra few hours of enjoying the park during the day and then stay all the way through the night and really enjoy all that is the Christmas party and all the attractions around the park as well. But the price extra, especially for locals who just want to go and have some Christmas fun, is a bit frustrating. And similar to that, out in California, Disneyland, this is how it used to be it used to be the Halloween events at California were included in admission, but then they recently changed it to be a separate Mickey's Halloween party, kind of like Walt Disney World has, and I have a feeling that in the coming years, Disneyland will probably go that way with the Christmas party, unfortunately, that locals will be shut out of it unless you add, your extra ticket. The only good news about all of this is if you want to brave the crowds around Christmas time, beginning a few weeks from now, I think December 18th or so, for the rest of the year daily, you can enjoy all the Christmas content that is included. So if you want to wait and you want to go when it's really, really crowded around Christmas and around New Year's, you can enjoy some of what is offered during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It's not everything, but it is a lot of it. It is, you'll see the parade and the fireworks at least. So that part is included. So with all of that said, let's talk about the party itself and what I saw this year and what's new this year and what I did enjoy with that out of the way. And as soon as you walk into Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, there's certainly this wonderful feeling of Christmas town Town Square is beautifully decorated with toy soldiers throughout Town Square and these wreaths running up and down Main Street, and of course the castle dream lights glowing at the end of Main Street. And just walking in, you get that wonderful sense of magical Christmas fun that of course you can get any night there, but is something extra special about being there on the Very Merry Christmas Party, because that's what everybody is there for. Everybody is there to enjoy the Christmas festivities. And then right there in the middle of Town Square is something that is not there normally during the day, but during the Christmas party you will find Santa Claus himself. In the past he's been, I think, over by City Hall. This year he's not over there because Duffy the Disney Bear has moved in for a meet and greet there, so instead Santa is now in the middle of Town Square, which is actually a better place for his meet and greet this year, to get a picture with Santa, who just looks jolly and excited as always. So a great photo opportunity. As you make your way down Main Street in the Very Merry Christmas Party, you'll find that Main Street is certainly a hub for activity. It is always very crowded during the party there because of the parade and because of the fireworks and because of the added entertainment, and it can be a crowded part of the park throughout the night. There is some extra entertainment that Disney seems to have added this year. For some reason, I saw throughout the park a number of hopscotch sort of courses, if you will, being set up kind of in tape on the street on Main Street. I saw one in Fantasyland as well, and some cast members were playing along with kids, and kids were certainly enjoying it. That's something I hadn't really noticed before. I was sure it's not new. I'm sure they've done that many times, maybe even not during the Christmas parties, but anyway, I just happened to know that. Up and down Main Street, periodically it does snow. It is not snow that you necessarily want to be eating, but it does snow. And there are certain parts of Main Street, particularly where I was watching the parade kind of in front of the Emporium, where the snow was rather heavy and rather thick. And as I'm taking pictures of the parade as it was going down Main Street, I had to keep hiding my camera from the snow because it was coming down so fast and furiously, which I thought was it was fun. You know, it was a cool night, which was nice. There haven't been too many cool nights so far this year here in Florida, so it was a good night to be there when I was about a week and a half ago or so. Anyway, moving further down Main Street, of course, there is a show in front of Cinderella Castle. It's really the same show that they have put on for the last few years at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It's a cute show. It's an amusing show, but it features a lot of characters, the Fab Five, and a lot of Christmas-type characters. And it's enjoyable, but it's kind of not necessarily a must-see while you're at the Very Merry Christmas Party. And I've already posted hundreds of photos from the party over at InsideTheMagic.net. So if you want to see more from this show or anything that I'm talking about here, head on over to the website and see that. One of the highlights, though, of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party every year is the Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade, which is got to be one of Disney's longest parades. It just seems to go on, but it goes on in a very good way, because float after float and character after character, it's all very, very interesting and enjoyable. And while I'm talking about this, let's play the music from the parade in the background here. Some of my favorite sites throughout this parade, and like any Disney parade, it's great to watch it on Main Street. Of course, you can go over to Liberty Square, you can go over to Frontierland to watch it, but in my opinion, watching a Disney parade on Main Street is the best place to do it, especially if you have a clear view of the castle in the distance. Watching the parade floats come down the street, it is the best way to see a Disney parade, in my opinion. And there are 2 parades per night, by the way, for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And catching the second one is generally a good idea. It's a little bit later in the night, but you'll have an easier time finding a spot. A lot of people are fighting for spots, sometimes quite literally, in the first parade of the night. But anyway, the parade this year, one of the new additions is on the Mickey and Minnie float, which is near the front of the parade, and sitting next to Mickey and Minnie is Duffy the Disney Bear. The second opportunity to see that bear in as part of the Christmas festivities. If you happen to be a fan of Duffy, you'll be excited about that. If you are not, he is very ignorable because he just kind of sits there and waves. So I suppose that's a good thing. But my favorite part of the parade every year is Scrooge McDuck. Of course, my favorite Disney character anyway, and someone that you can't see normally in the parks or around. So it's always great to see Scrooge in the parade. He's got his little house, and I always try to at least catch just the Scrooge part of the parade every year. I don't watch the whole parade twice, but I will definitely watch the whole parade once and then catch Scrooge at least that one portion for the second parade as well. The parade moves at a rather rapid pace because there are so many floats and so much to get through, and sometimes that's good because you get to see a lot. But other times, like in the case of Cinderella's carriage with her tiny horses pulling the carriage, it moves so fast, and Cinderella, of course, is trying to wave to the right and the left side of the street. It's tough to get that great view of Cinderella because she's in her pumpkin-turned carriage as she's moving rapidly down the street. So you may or may not get a perfect view of every character, but since the parade is twice, if you miss them the first time, maybe they're on the wrong side of the float, you could always come back later, watch the second parade, watch it from the other side of the street, and then you'll get a second view with a whole bunch of new sights that you wouldn't have seen the first time around. Something I noticed that I thought was very interesting during this Once Upon a Christmas Time parade was a Clarabelle cow in her kitchen float was surprisingly popular. You wouldn't think Horace Horsecollar and Clarabelle Cow had a big following, being such old characters and not as recognizable, but for some reason the people around me while I was watching the parade were really excited to see Clarabelle Cow. They were yelling her name and wanting to look over there, which, I don't know if they were just big Disney fans or if somehow Clarabelle is getting a new following. I just thought that was particularly interesting. Near the end of the parade, one of my favorite sights throughout the whole thing are the rows and rows and rows of marching toy soldiers marching in unison, playing their instruments. Definitely a fun sight with Cinderella Castle in the distance. But of course, the highlight of the whole parade is Santa Claus on his big sleigh at the very end, yelling out ho 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 and happy Merry Christmas and all of that kind of thing. Just oh well, there he is in the background right now. No, that's anyway. Yeah, so that is the parade. We'll leave the parade music going while I'm talking about the rest of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party here, jumping over to Tomorrowland, where a show that debuted a couple of years ago as part of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party has returned once again this year. It's called A Totally Tomorrowland Christmas, which, in my opinion, is a totally lame name for a show. Fortunately, the show is not nearly as lame as the name itself is. It's not a spectacular show, but it takes place on the stage that was originally created for Stitch's Supersonic Celebration, the complete failure of a show in Tomorrowland. And this show is far superior to that show, and it draws a very big crowd. It's got some great live singing, which is great. The host of the show does a really nice job moving it all along and does a great job singing. And more importantly, this young female host has a wide variety of really amusing facial expressions. She is way over the top excited about everything, which was the most amusing part of the whole show to me. As the show contains, of course, Disney characters. It's got Buzz Lightyear in it, who at one point grabs the host's hand and plants a kiss on her hand, at which point she has this way over the top excited face. And then at some point Stitch comes out near the end, and she's really excited about that. And then she's just really, really amazed and excited about everything, which I found to just be completely amusing. But anyway, the show itself has a little bit of fireworks near the end, a lot of dancing, a lot of singing, quite a few characters. Mike Wazowski is in there, and it's not at all bad. It's not a spectacular show, but it is not a bad show at all. So if you think Totally Tomorrowland Christmas and you just think, wow, that sounds awful, give it a shot. It's not nearly as bad as you might think. Also new for 2011 at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, near that show, over by Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, is a new meet and greet starring Phineas and Ferb from the Disney Channel. They've been over at Hollywood Studios for a few months now doing daily meet and greets, and now as part of the Christmas party, they have a Christmas-themed meet and greet and photo op as well for everybody to enjoy. Of course, there are a lot of meet and greets throughout the park. One opportunity to meet with Pluto and with Goofy Santa, or Santa Goofy, is in Cosmic Rays, where it's kind of one of these dance party things. And when I went in there to try to take some pictures, it was chaos in there, complete and utter chaos. There were kids running around everywhere, just completely hyper. They must have eaten too many sugar cookies or something, because they were running around and literally the parents were laughing as the kids were running around and pulling on Pluto's tail. You'd think somebody would stop them from doing that, but that wasn't the case, and it was just a complete nightmare in there. So I was not able to get some great photos amongst the madness, but if you've got a kid that needs to burn off some extra energy, that seems to be the place to do it. Elsewhere in the park in Fantasyland, there are plenty of meet and greets going on there, including Donald Duck dressed as sort of a woodsman lumberjack of sorts, where a few years ago, and for a number of years, Donald would appear and alternate with Scrooge McDuck for meet and greets and photo opportunities. And unfortunately, when new Fantasyland construction began, the expansion construction began last year, they ditched Scrooge. And so now it's only Donald doing the meet and greet, which I was not happy about last year, and again, I'm not happy this year. I have been told that Scrooge is once again doing his meet and greets over at the Contemporary. Haven't had a chance to go out there and see that yet this year, but hopefully it is indeed the case once again, so I can get my photo with Scrooge, which I always have to do if at all possible. Also, Winnie the Pooh and that group are meeting in Fantasyland, and then one of the more unique meet and greet opportunities at the Christmas party is seeing Cinderella with her stepmother and her stepsisters, and even Prince Charming are there posing over by It's a Small World, in the sort of area next to where the Skyway building used to be. So a good photo opportunity there. And then with all of this walking around and meeting and greeting and show watching and parade watching and all of that, it's easy to work up an appetite. So, of course, there is complimentary hot chocolate available throughout the party. Pretty much the same this year as it has been in the past. There's apple juice you can get, apple slices. But what is new for 2011 are the cookies. They are a bit different this year than they were last year. Last year they were kind of just standard sugar cookies. This year they seem to be sprinkled with kind of a cinnamony sort of flavor, like Cinnamon Toast Crunch kind of flavor. The first one that I had, I was not thrilled with the change, but as I ate another one, I did like it. I thought it was a more fulfilling cookie than just a straight ordinary sugar cookie. But what I was very disappointed by this year, which I had enjoyed very much during last year's Very Merry Christmas Party, was over at Aloha Isle in Adventureland. Last year, I seem to remember getting a red and green swirl Dole Whip, which was a wonderful treat. Of course, Dole Whip is always a great treat, but to have it red and green for the Christmas fun is even better. And this year, Aloha Isle was just completely closed. There were no Dole Whips being served during the party, which disappointed me greatly because I always want to get a Dole Whip. Over in Liberty Square, as I was grabbing some, there are many stations for the hot chocolate and the cookies and all of that kind of thing throughout the park, and one of them is in the Columbia Harbor House right across from the Haunted Mansion. And just outside that, there was a group of cast members, not singers necessarily, but just cast members, and they were caroling. They weren't necessarily the best singers in the world, but they knew it, and they were just having fun with it. And they were the same cast members who would be giving out the cookies and that kind of thing, and they just got together with their lyrics in hand and sang, and it was amusing to watch them kind of laugh along as they tried to make their way through some Christmas songs with some amusing lyrics. And then, of course, one other big bit of entertainment that is a must-see during the Very Merry Christmas Party is the holiday version of Wishes, and it's where high above Cinderella Castle, it all explodes with wonderful holiday Christmas fireworks, booming over the castle. And it is really an enjoyable show. The castle dream lights, which sparkle all over the Cinderella Castle, turn off for the show until the very end in the finale, when it all lights up again and everything bursts, and they use the perimeter launch spots, and it really is a great fireworks show and a wonderful way to wrap up Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Overall, a very entertaining party that I do enjoy going to, even if I wish it was just something included with regular park admission during the rest of December, not just during the super busy part in the last couple of weeks. But there are a number of dates remaining for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and before we wrap up completely here about the party, I do want to share one more thing that I think all of you you will enjoy very much. It is some entertainment from Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, none other than the always wonderful to see and more particularly hear Dapper Dans. Before the parade on Main Street, USA, the Dapper Dans perform a number of Christmas songs. They sing, they tap dance, they use bells, and I recorded quite a few of the songs that I want to share with you now. So let's hop on over to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party on Main Street, USA to enjoy a performance by the Dapper Dans.
beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, take a look at the 5 and 10, listening once again, with candy canes and stimulants to go. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of lumberjacks to choose a wish upon your name. Dolls like gold, what is the hope of days and day? Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will ring, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, there's a tree in the Randall, one in the park as well. The sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will ring, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart, right within your heart.
And there they were, the Dapper Dans at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. One of the more enjoyable, most enjoyable, in fact, elements of that party. Of course, the Dapper Dans are always there at the Magic Kingdom, quite regularly performing. But to see them in their red outfits and just hamming it up on Main Street is certainly one of the best treats throughout the party. One final note before we wrap up the Very Merry Christmas Party coverage here. Jen Goofy's in the chat room. Let me know that Clarabelle Cow, who I said earlier was surprised with such a following, apparently Clarabelle Cow is on the Mickey Mouse Club house, Mickey Mouse house thing, Disney Channel thing. So I guess that is why everybody all of a sudden knows Clarabelle Cow, despite the fact that she is such an old character. So thanks very much for that bit of information. Of course, head on over to InsideTheMagic.net for many photos, video of the Dapper Dance, and some other video from the party. Of course, I didn't mention earlier, something I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago in the Christmas update to the Magic Memories and You show is also shown during the Christmas party, but also outside of it as well, so it's not party exclusive. But anyway, head on over to InsideTheMagic.net for lots of photos from the event, and go to Disney's website if you want tickets to go see Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Ho! Happy holidays, everyone!
And now, before we jump into listener feedback, let me put in a quick word about Lanyard Lab, something I didn't do on last week's show, so got to fit it in here somewhere this week. If you have a business to promote, a convention to attend, maybe you're at a school or a church or any organization where you need to wear name tags around your neck, visit us over at lanyardlab.com. There you can customize your own lanyard, fill out our quote request form. We'll email you back with a price code along with the proof showing you what your lanyards will look like, and from there you can just purchase online. It is as easy as that, so check it out over at lanyardlab.com.
Hi, Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky, this is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic listener feedback.
All right, closing in on an hour here on the show, so let's jump right into the listener feedback and see what we can get through. We got quite a few emails, actually, so let's jump right into it. Actually, last night, as I was deciding what to talk about on this week's show, and ultimately, obviously, I decided to talk about the Very Merry Christmas Party, but I asked everybody on Facebook what I should talk about, and the overwhelming response was Christmas, so that's what we went with. But more specifically, there were a few questions that people asked. Wade and Brianna were asking about what is new or upcoming for the holiday season this year, and I touched on what was new at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party this year already, but in addition to that, over at Disney's Hollywood Studios for the Osborne Spectacle of Dancing Lights, there is a new addition. There are two new songs they're featuring in there, as well as this whole sort of canopy, as they're calling it, that goes overhead throughout the street that is just filled with LEDs, and I haven't seen it in person yet. I'm going to go very, very soon, but apparently it's pretty amazing that what they can do with all the different lights and almost like a video screen up there, and their complete control over all of those colors. That's certainly new this year. Likewise, on a similar note, Eric asked, is there anything I'd like to add, remove, or bring back from years past to the resort for the holiday season? And, well, I think the thing that everybody would say that everybody misses that is once again not there and probably will never be there again is the Lights of Winter over at Epcot, something I always really enjoyed looking forward to seeing, something I enjoyed seeing, the archways that led from Future World into the World Showcase, and they would dance to the music as well, and they disappeared a couple of years ago, never to return again. That's kind of the default answer to that question. It's something I'd really like to see, and as I said before, I'd like to see more Christmas entertainment at the Magic Kingdom where you don't have to pay extra for the ticket to get in. I should note, by the way, that even with all my griping about paying extra, the ticket that I got for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, I did get a ticket from Disney. They gave me a ticket, so I didn't actually pay to go to the party. But with that said, I probably would not have gone as a result if they hadn't given me that ticket. So yeah, I've already made my point about that. So moving on from that subject, let's go to some other emails. This one from Ollie from California, who writes, you mentioned on last week's show that you went to Alcatraz, which has no Disney connection, but sure enough, there is one, although it is somewhat distant. If you remember, back in 1996, there was a movie called The Rock. It was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, starred Sean Connery, and took place on Alcatraz Island. The movie was distributed by Hollywood Pictures, which is one of Disney's movie divisions. So, yeah, Ollie, thanks very much for the email. You are absolutely right. Alcatraz apparently does have a distant Disney connection. Along the same lines, continuing from my San Francisco related report last week, David wrote in and said, you missed a big Disney connection very nearby. Pixar is just across the Bay Bridge, about 15 to 20 minutes away in Emeryville. And David, you couldn't be any more right. In fact, within a day of getting home from San Francisco, it just completely dawned on me at that point, Pixar was right there. Didn't drive by it. I mean, there are no public tours of Pixar or anything, but I still would have liked to have driven by at the very least and seen the outside of Pixar and maybe reached out to, I'm sure I could have found somebody who works there at some point to maybe get me inside, but regardless, yeah, I was 15 minutes down the road from Pixar and did not even go, I didn't even go across the Bay Bridge, in fact. So I'll save that for the next trip to the Walt Disney Family Museum, because surely I'll have to go again someday. Tiffany writes in and says, this is Tiffany from California. I sure could use your help. We are planning on coming out to Florida in 19 days, and on the 26th, 3 of us are heading to Universal for Harry Potter. What is the best/cheapest way to get to Universal for 3 people? We are staying on property at the Contemporary. Thanks for your help and have a great holiday. Thanks for your help, is what I meant to say. Have a great holiday. Anyway, Tiffany, this is a question I get quite often. It's a question I've definitely answered here on the show, and a question I've emailed people about, and so much so that I probably should set up a section of our website that says how to get to Harry Potter from Disney World, because it's one of those things that a lot of people wonder about. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter is such a huge draw for Universal Orlando. Even if you don't care about anything else that Universal offers, a lot of people want to go to Walt Disney World and then go to the Harry Potter area. And my answer for this is always there's a few different ways to get there. Of course, there's public transportation, which is not the greatest thing in the world. If you want to take Lynx buses and all of that, it'll end up taking you a very long time. Another option would be just to hop a taxi, but that could be rather expensive going all the way from Walt Disney World to Universal. Your best bet may be to look into the Mears service, which can shuttle you around for a reasonable price, especially if you've got multiple people. I mean, it depends on how many you have. If you want to pack a whole bunch of people into a taxi, you can split the cost across everybody, and it may be not so bad. But if it's just you, or let's see, how many did you say? You said 3 of us. That might be a little bit iffy, and it may be better to look into a Mears, a shuttle between the parks. So that is my recommendation. Of course, the alternative is just to rent a car, and with deals out there, you may find that renting a car is actually a bit cheaper. And of course, if you have a car and you're staying on property, you get parking for free at Disney at the parks, so you could utilize your car instead of hopping around on the ferry and the monorail and buses and all of that kind of thing. So not a great answer. There's no super special Hogwarts Express to get over there, but yeah, there it is. Now let's talking about Universal. Here's an email from Andrew, and this is talking about the Jaws thing that I mentioned earlier. Jaws is closing at Universal Orlando, something people have been very, very vocal about, rather disappointed, in fact. A lot of comments over at InsideTheMagic.net, a lot of negative comments over there about it, and I got this one email from Andrew, who writes, as you know, Universal Orlando Resort announced that Jaws will be closing on January 2nd, and there has been outrage all over the internet, and I want to know your opinion. Jaws was my favorite ride, and my main goal was to become a skipper. Reading the news crushed me. I have no idea why Universal has made this decision. Jaws was one of the last original classic rides at Universal Studios and was very popular and had a huge fan following, even though some pessimistic, immature people said it's so old and time for it to go. I feel like, and many others probably do, that a family member has died. Don't you think that Potter and Transformers will not stand the test of time like Jaws did? What do you think Universal should have done? It is unlikely that Universal will change their minds, and I have no idea when the next time I'll be able to visit is, so I'll never be able to ride again. This ride was important to so many people, and Universal knows that. They even said it when they announced it, and they know how important this classic ride is. I believe this decision was just stupid, just plain stupid, and not thought through. What do you think about it, Ricky? Are you one of the people that thought it was somehow a bad attraction? I mean, it's like Disney making an announcement that they will be permanently closing and demolishing the Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World and replacing it with a new experience that sounded like it could be fun to Imagineers. I know that would never happen, but it is happening at Universal, the equivalent for anybody who doesn't know about the ride. Well, Andrew, definitely some strong opinions there, and I agree largely. Jaws is one of my favorite attractions that's currently at Universal, and I will be very sad to see it go. I was really super disappointed when Back to the Future was closed to make way for The Simpsons. The Simpsons is an okay attraction, but Back to the Future was far better. I do miss the old Ghostbusters show. Twister is not something I ever visit. Ghostbusters, I would go quite regularly. The King Kong ride is something I really enjoyed, and although the Mummy attraction is very popular, it's not personally one of my favorites, and I do like... I did like King Kong better. So now to have Jaws disappear as well, it's really going to depend on what is replacing it. To answer your question, I think Harry Potter very much has staying power. Harry Potter will be popular for years and years and years. Transformers has been around for quite a while, since the early 80s in various forms. The Michael Bay version obviously has only been around for a few years, but should Transformers replace Jaws, I could see that being very popular, especially with a high-tech new attraction for a long time. Maybe not as long as Jaws, but for a long time. If it is something like I alluded to with Madagascar possibly earlier as a rumor, that not so much. I mean, they are adding Despicable Me to the park in place of what used to be Hanna-Barbera, and then was Jimmy Neutron / Nickelodeon. Now it's becoming Despicable Me, which I'm not thrilled about, and Madagascar would excite me even less than that, particularly with replacing Jaws, so I wouldn't be excited about that, but they have to have something pretty major planned. If they're replacing all of Amity as well as the Jaws attraction, I really hope it's something spectacular. So for the moment, without knowing what they're replacing Jaws with, I'm disappointed. I really do like Jaws, and I'll make sure to go ride it several times before it closes. With that said, once they announce what it will be replacing it, I might change my mind and say, hey, that's way cooler than Jaws. But I might not. I don't know. Really hard to say at this point. I would not say Jaws is anywhere near the level of The Haunted Mansion, or a lot of people are comparing it to Jungle Cruise just because they both have skippers and spieling and all of that. Different sort of classic. I mean, we're talking about decades and decades, 50 plus years, 60 years worth of attractions if you're thinking about Disneyland versions versus 20 years for Jaws-ish. So, different scope and scale. But yeah, Jaws is, as far as Universal goes, is a classic, original type of attraction. So I will miss it, certainly, and I share many of your opinions, Andrew, so thanks for that email. If anyone else has any thoughts about Jaws closing, head on over to InsideTheMagic.net, look for the Jaws article, post your comments there. Last I checked, there was, I don't know how many, 30-something comments, I think, and mostly negative, so chime in and let us know what you think. Few more emails here. Let's see. Where are we? Lost my place. There it is. Josh writes in and says, I've been reading your suggestions for gifts for Disney fans, and I have a CD that not many people know about that is a great Disney CD. It's Steve Tyrell, the Disney Standards. Jazz and piano artist Steve Tyrell does covers of some of Disney's most beloved songs, such as When You Wish Upon a Star, He's a Tramp, and You've Got a Friend in Me. I picked up the CD from Disney Movie Rewards, but I'm sure you can find it on CD somewhere else. All in all, it is a great CD to add to any collection of music for a Disney fan. And I'm currently enjoying the music, and I shall listen to it until the songs are stuck in my head. Thanks very much, Josh, for that. I'm actually trying to pull up the CD here on Amazon. Looks like they have it in MP3 format. I'll play a couple of clips here. You mentioned When You Wish Upon a Star. Here's a sample of that.
Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dreams.
All right, let's see. Let's try another one here. How about You've Got a Friend in Me?
Pass it, son, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me.
Definitely sounds like some good versions of the songs. Good recommendation there. It's a good one to add to a Christmas list. So thanks, Josh, for that email. A few more here. James wrote in and asked, let's see, I've been going over some recent YouTube videos of Fantasmic at Walt Disney World, and I've noticed something wrong with the finale. Instead of Sorcerer Mickey, it's Classic Mickey at the bottom of the mountain. Why is this happening? James, I haven't seen Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios in a very, very long time, so I can't say firsthand as to how it is or is not working, or things not functioning properly at Fantasmic, but I have been reading people's comments online that there are some technical issues going on over at Fantasmic in recent days, so I don't know all the specific details there, but apparently there are things that need to be fixed at Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios. Not all is perfect there, but still an enjoyable show. Next email from John, who writes, I've seen a number of applications on iTunes that show wait times for various rides at Disney, at Epcot. However, I've been using them with my iPod Touch off my own Wi-Fi or public Wi-Fi. My question is, if I bring my iPod, does Disney provide Wi-Fi ability for that, or is it free or something they charge for? John, good question. There are certainly many applications out there that offer wait times. Disney has their own mobile magic available for certain, I think Verizon, coming to iPhone at some point, and there's many third-party ones that rely on people submitting data to it all. But anyway, you're not going to find free Wi-Fi in the parks. Disney has been testing actually free Wi-Fi over at Epcot. There's a certain area of the park where they have been sort of offering spotty Wi-Fi for park guests, but other than that, in the parks, you're not going to find Wi-Fi, so your iPod is not going to be working there. You're going to need an iPhone or another web accessible device that can use, cell 3G, 4G, all that kind of thing in order to access the internet. Wi-Fi is not going to work for you in that case in order to access those wait times. And one more email. This one is actually something just in the Christmas spirit here. Michael wrote to me. He had said that he mentioned at some point, and I don't remember if I ever mentioned it here on the show, he's got a Disney Tips app for the iPhone that he's going to be making free pretty soon, apparently. But he wanted me to mention here, just give a plug real quick for a Christmas app that he has developed that is, as he calls it, it's fun and it's free. And free is a good thing. It's a sort of a Christmas quiz sort of a game. He sent me the links to it, which I will put in this week's show notes. And it's just something he's been working on to add. It has nothing to do with Disney, really. It's the Christmas Elf Tree is what he calls it. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it in the Android marketplace as well. And just a little fun extra Christmas bonus that has nothing to do with anything really, but something that one of our listeners developed, and so you should check it out. So yeah, that's it for your listener feedback this week.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
And that about wraps up show 348 of Inside the Magic. A lot of Christmas fun this week that will continue throughout the month of December. We're going to be going around Walt Disney World with some other Christmas fun. Also going to hop over to SeaWorld and Universal for a lot there. In the last couple of days, I spent hours and hours at those parks just taking it all in, taking absolutely everything that they have to offer, which is a lot. They really do a nice job, so I want to bring that to everybody along with more Disney fun as well. I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And also, please do check out Theme Park Connection. They have an online store, as well as now a physical store and warehouse here in Winter Garden, Florida, pretty close to Walt Disney World, where you can just browse through hundreds, if not thousands, of Disney items, tiny things, big things, rarities, things you can't get anywhere else. Check it all out over at themeparkconnection.com. And if you're going to be doing Christmas shopping this year through Amazon, please do it through InsideTheMagic.net/Amazon. Head to that address first, click through the link, then add items to your cart, and we will get credit for your purchases, which helps us out as well. Also, visit us over at LanyardLab.com to see all of the different styles and custom lanyard options that we have available. You can request a price quote today and receive a free digital preview of your lanyard design. And of course, visit us over at InsideTheMagic.net between episodes of this show. It is your source for Disney and theme park news. In addition to each week's show notes, you'll also find links, background music listings, all of our podcasts and videos and news and photos and articles and so much more. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. Just add /Inside the Magic to any of those services, and you'll find our channel and follow us and all of that, and keep up with all the latest and greatest from Disney and theme park fun. So there it is, show 348. Thanks to all of you for listening, and for those of you watching, anybody wants to check out the live version of this show, tune in at InsideTheMagic.net/live every Sunday. And that's about it. Have a magical week. Bye.
Just a dream away. So there's a great, big, beautiful